So Paronella Park, I've just walked across the suspension bridge. Man, there she is. Wasn't that a treat?
It's a bit wobbly. Is that fun?
The suspension bridge was a little bit wobbly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the waterfall looks pretty cool. It's supposed to look really good at night. So we'll be back here tonight doing a night tour. And you can just see part of the castle in the background as well. So we're going to head off. Paronella Park, maybe find a drink and go and explore. And there's all...
So behind me here is what used to be the cafe where Marguerite used to do the cooking for fine dining for the ladies to come in their beautiful long dresses and the men in their three-piece suits in this very tropical warm climate. And over to my right was where the band used to play. So you used to be able to look straight through the cafe to the beautiful waterfall, beautiful design. Would have been an incredible experience.
And the fountain just in front of us too. Remember, that was built by Jose's son, as well as a memorial for his father after his father passed away.
And that's all fed from the waterfall.
Yeah, it's gravity fed from the waterfall. And behind us were 2 clay tennis courts as well that were built from termite mounds. So it's just been an absolutely fascinating experience here at Paronella Park. And the guy who built it was a person of such amazing vision, wasn't he, for his time?
Incredible. A real businessman and visionary and a bit of a romantic as well.
He was very romantic.
One of the walks you can do is called Lover's Lane. It's just wide enough for a couple to walk along hand in hand.
Yeah. And it was a bit of a sad story for Jose as well, because he originally bought this property in the late 1920s, early 1930s, paid £120 for it, and he went back to Spain to marry his fiancée. But the problem was his fiancée hadn't heard from him in 12 years.
Yeah,
and so when he got back to,
married.
Of course, a guy never writing a letter, and so when he got back home, everybody thought he was dead, and he wound up marrying the sister. Jose had to marry the sister because his fiancée thought he was dead and had taken so long in getting back to him and getting back to Spain that she'd already married and had a child. But his fiancée's mother said, hey, I've got a younger daughter that you can marry. And so the two got married and moved back here. These were the cubicles that people could use to come and get changed in before going for a swim. So Linda and I are just standing outside the Tunnel of Love, which was built around the early 1930s by Jose Paronella for his lovely wife. And it's now inhabited by a horrible smell and a lot of microbats. Yeah, it's absolutely fascinating to see all the work that Jose put into the park here.
We're going to Teresa's waterfall. He wanted to make his daughter a waterfall which he gave to her on her 8th
birthday. Yeah. Oh, that's actually Jose Paronella's fingerprints in the concrete.
Here.
Yeah.
Are his fingerprints as he rendered it.
Wow.
And made it handmade.
And so we're actually standing in where the Tunnel of Love is.
Yeah,
it was built around the 1930s. Through there, it's now inhabited by microbats. And smelly as. Jose Paronella built the park. One of the things that he put in is a kauri pine avenue that points to the waterfall. And like these would have only been little saplings when he planted them. He never could have pictured what they would have been like now. When fully grown, they're 300 feet tall. So these ones are still only babies. But they look absolutely huge. Every place you go needs to have a toilet block. And back in the 1930s, this was one of the first flushing toilets that they had at Paronella Park here in Australia. So this is the picnic area that Jose Paronella had put in the park back in the 1930s, so that visitors to the park could come and experience the park, have a swim under the waterfall, have a picnic, and then if they wanted to later on, they could head on up to the cafe. That's the grand staircase that Linda's standing on. Imagine how hard something like that would have been to go and build back in the 1930s. So where we're standing now, this was the grand ballroom. Now you can see all the pavers on the floor in front of me. That was originally polished timber floor until they had a fire come through. You can see the mirror ball down the far end. Cost something like £600 when it was at first installed. That's not the original mirror ball. The original one came from the States. It cost £600 and it was 5 times the price of the whole property here at Paronella when Jose bought the property. So that would have been huge. Unfortunately, a fire came through. They used to have weddings in here. The fire came through, the roof collapsed. So it would have been all, yeah, very disappointing, I'm sure. It also used to be a movie theatre here as well. And you can see the top opening in the wall down there was where they used to have the projection used to come from. And that little bottom hole down at the base of it, that was where they used to serve ice cream through. Just over where Linda is there, that was actually the stage in the ballroom. So they used to have dances here as well as movies. So it would have been a really happening place in its heyday. Would have looked absolutely spectacular. And there's a lot of refurbishments going on as well, because the property is heritage listed. And so they're doing a lot of structural work around trying to preserve as much of the property as they can. So this is the original cottage that Jose and his new wife lived in here at Paronella. So it's now a museum, so we're going to go in and just have a look at more of the history of Paronella Park. So this is the original equipment that they used to use to show movies in the grand ballroom. And interesting story, they said that sometimes it was more excitement in the cinema than on the screen, because every now and again a snake would slither into the cinema, and so Jose would have to grab a gun and go and shoot the snakes. But also his kids, at one point, kids went and broke up an ant nest and threw it over the river to see if it would float down Mena Creek. And then that night it happened to get stuck in the turbine for the hydroelectric power and cut all power to the cinema. So of course, those kids were in big strife.